Hello, this is Hunter McDermott with another episode of Guitar Blog. This is number 17. It is Monday, November 11th, 4:47 p.m., 2019. So this week I finished the fifth part of the Jazz Blues Accelerator course from Learn Jazz Standards, which was what I showed off a little bit last week with I was composing an etude, or I guess you could call it just straight up a blues head for a tune. So I think that went well, and I maintained almost all of what I had. So it went something like this. So I changed the end. That's all I changed, really. It's still kind of neat and tidy, but it sounded a little bit less cheesy to me. But I kept in the part that I was a little bit reticent about, just because I thought it was good to go with that. I don't know, it was good to stick with something I heard that I thought was cool, even if it was different from what I expected or different from something that I'm used to. And I liked the fact that it was kind of a callback to Blue and Green, which is a tune I really love. So that's that. And now I moved on to the next section. And so what we were doing for the first four sections was taking a blues head into four different keys, and then the fifth one kind of taking a lot of what we had rehearsed in different keys and absorbed through lots of repetition and tried to compose something with it. So now in the new section, we're starting over. So we're going to keep going around the circle, but we're going to start with a new head for another tune. So I get to pick a new tune, and there's a new etude that the course provides for you. That kind of focuses more on outlining the changes. So in the first one, it was all about bluesy language, so just like that kind of stuff. Not based in anything except just lots of chromaticism and kind of hitting those blue notes and that neat bluesy stuff. So this will be a little bit more about kind of outlining the changes a little bit better. So I've decided to do West Coast Blues, which is a Wes Montgomery tune. So that one's in B flat. I'm going to do it in A flat for the chorus, but in original key it's So that's the head for that one, which is cool. But so I was thinking this week, I feel good about what the course is getting me to do, because part of that will be that kind of stuff, outlining the changes from just a chord tone perspective, and doing the scale mapping and the guide tone maps and all that kind of stuff. And that stuff's really been good, I think, for helping me transition into these different keys and hear a lot of the same language, even if it's like an unfamiliar shape or part of the guitar. But I was looking at what I've been doing, and as just generally with my practice, and I think it's been good to pick a tune to focus on, a tune or tunes, and try taking this stuff from the course and running it through outside of the course in these real tunes. Certainly continuing to work on improvising, and just thinking that one thing that I definitely know is lacking, and I don't know if it's the best time to start focusing on yet another thing, but my comping, I feel like, needs a lot of work. It's fine, but it's not all that creative or interesting. And I play with a piano player occasionally, and I just love listening to piano players comp. They're certainly the best at it, even better than the best guitarists in a lot of cases, just because they've got all 10 fingers they can use. But anyway, just really beautiful, some of the stuff they come up with, and it's got little melodies going in with it, and it's very punchy and percussive, and people attack the problem a lot of different ways, but generally speaking, piano players are great at it. And I'm over here just kind of going like, and that's fine. Maybe I'll do an extension, whatever, every now and again, a handful that I happen to know. But I want to expand my vocabulary, and I think what I need to really do is get away from roots. Just as there's nothing wrong with playing roots, as Barry Harris would say, but I think it's a crutch that I have right now. I'm just playing root everything, and I'm mostly using these shell voicings, and I think shell voices are great. It's a great way to quickly attack a tune that you maybe don't know all that well, and you can hit the changes pretty effortlessly doing that. And like I said, I think it sounds fine, but I just personally want to improve my vocabulary. And I think a big part of that also, so I've done a lot of stuff with drop voicings. Kind of stuff. And a handful of those have stuck and are things that I find I use a lot in my playing, but they're also just very, very vanilla sounding. It doesn't sound bad. It's like that's a part of, let's see. That's like There Will Never Be Another You. Or whatever. Anyway, that kind of stuff flows really nicely together and you get good voice leading. I mean, that's perfect. That's just chromatic going all the way down. So there are cases where that works out really nice, but I'm still getting this very vanilla sound to things. And it would be nice to get more into stuff like this, where you've got these extensions in there to kind of make things a little bit more interesting. So I had a teacher once who said, this is the only book you'll ever need to get on comping. This is the Barry Galbraith guitar comping book. He's done a few books. This is the only one of his that I have. He recommended it. I picked it up before we started. I started lessons with him, and then we proceeded to never touch it. So I think what he was trying to tell me was, here, like, I don't need to teach you anything about comping. Just go through this book, which I've never done because, I don't know, that's how I am with books, as I've said before. So I thought this would be good to go through to pick up lots of voicings, and I'm taking a separate piece of paper and just writing down the different voicings. Some of these I know and have seen before but don't use, so I just need a refresher. Others I've never used or seen, and most of them are rootless, and I think that's pretty critical on the guitar, because if you want to hit extensions, you gotta sacrifice notes from the chord. The shells are great because they sacrifice the fifth, and then if you sacrifice the root as well, just kind of get to the heart of the chord, whatever that happens to be, and then you've got two more fingers or a bar or whatever you need to add a bunch of other extensions, and that gives you a bunch of just a more dense, I don't know, more interesting sound, something that I find more interesting. So the book is got a lot of tunes that are based on standards by different names. This is just kind of nothing melodic. It's sort of melodic comping, but it's mostly just chord punches kind of stuff, which is, I think, what I need to be working on anyway. So it's very rhythmic, which I think is important, and then it's introducing me to some new voicing. So there's one called Blues in F, and I thought I'd play just the first chorus of that because it's notated 4 or 5 choruses, 6 choruses actually. So there's a lot of variety in there. If you learn the whole thing, you've got all this kind of material. But so here's like the first 12 bars, and this is an F. So already you're starting off with a 13 chord, F dominant 13, which is cool because it's kind of like an F6, but instead of doubling the root, you're dropping the root down to the flat 7, which takes that 6 and turns it into a 13. So it's not a hard chord, it's really easy for me to play, it's just something that never occurred to me. I'm usually like, and this is so much more interesting. So anyway, we got like this. That kind of thing. So it's already teaching me a few things. There's that voicing that for a 13 chord rather than doing it with the root on the bottom there. You could do it with the root on top, or you could take that root and bring it up to the 9, and now you've got a 13-9 chord, which then allows you to like flat the 9 if you want, or sharp the 9, which works there. And then the big revelation, it's not much of a revelation because I've seen this before, but again, it's not something that I usually think about, is taking what I would look at as like a D minor 7 flat 5 chord, so like 5 6 5 6, and I think about that from the root note D minor 7 flat 5 kind of thing. But if you add a B flat onto the bottom of it, it becomes a dominant, let's see, what do we got? 13, comes like a 13 chord. And then up here, same thing with like this F7, and then you could add a 9 to it, and then take the root out and add the 5th up on top. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. Which is useful, not so much for the 5th, but because then you can sharp the 5th. Or flat the 5th. So it's just getting these extensions to a point where you can then manipulate them. And that's a neat walk down right there. Because keeping that C in the top. And it gives you this nice movement, and it's rhythmic and cool. So anyway, I'm playing with that stuff. So I thought to try to bring it all together, I've got the head that I'm working on, which is part of a tune that has its own changes. I'm doing the blues, so this book will give me at least 6 choruses of blues in the key of F. And then there's another whole tune called Blues in 12 Keys, which is one head in all 12 keys. So you're getting just tons of stuff that you can use for the blues. So I thought I would really start with those two, learn them, try to pull as many new chord shapes from them as I can, and get some of this kind of like chord comping vocab under my fingers as well. And then when I do my exercises or practicing or whatever, I can lay down a track of comping as a way to practice the comping, and then I've got something to jam over when I'm working on the melody or an exercise or whatever. So just trying to bring all these disparate pieces together. And then that way I won't feel like I'm neglecting my comping and chord related stuff. So I've got I'm learning melodies, I'm working on improv, I'm learning to take things into lots of different keys, which is building my ability to acquire material, because if you take something all that many different ways, then you're really going to drill it into your head and get it under your fingers at the same time. And then working on comping to be as a base for all that kind of stuff. That seems like a good amount of stuff, and it's always changing, but that's kind of a nice synergy, I guess, of different seemingly disparate things. That's what I'm going to say anyway about it. So anyway, I think that's it. I'm going to keep playing with this stuff and playing with West Coast Blues, which is in 3/4, so that'll be interesting to kind of take some of this comping stuff and come up with my own arrangements in a different time signature. That'll be fun. And continue to work my way through the course. So it's going well, and I'm hanging in there. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.